All right, let's go ahead and talk about blueprints. Really quick, what is a blueprint? If you don't know, it's Unreal Engine's visual scripting system. This allows you to have different nodes that you could connect through little cables, as an example, to kind of direct what you want to do and create like gameplay features or materials or anything else that the nodes are used for. Traditionally, you would have to program in a programming language in order to work with an engine, but that is not the case with Unreal Engine. I know some other engines have lately adopted the ability to do visual scripting. So Unity was traditionally programmed in C Sharp. I know that they have some visual scripting tools now. And here, if you still want to prefer programming, you could totally just jump into C++ and do that. It's a little bit more of an advanced programming language because you have to manually manage your memory and all that fun stuff. So for us, we're just going to focus on visual scripting and blueprint actors, right? So to get started, let's go ahead and just talk about where to find it. So let's go ahead and press Control Space, and let's go ahead and go to the base of the content drawer here, and we can right click. And if you go to the section here that says Blueprint, you'll see a bunch of different options: class, function library, interface, macro library, enumeration, and structure. That's a lot. We're not covering all those in this. We're just focused on Blueprint class. Don't worry. We'll get to that though. If you want to, you don't have to go to this tab here. You could find this as a quick access point, essentially right here at the top. Or if you want to search for it, you could go ahead and search for it here. So go ahead and click on Blueprint Class, and let's take a look at what these do. We're not going to focus on a lot of these right now. Our major one that we're going to be interacting with is our actor. An actor is essentially an object that could be spawned in the world. This could be like items that you pick up, like a key or a collectible or a currency. These could be things like interactable doors, traps, goalposts, saving checkpoints, anything like that would typically be an actor. The next thing you kind of want to focus on is your character. Character is a type of pawn that includes the ability to walk around. So between a pawn and a character, these could be your player characters. This could be a vehicle that you could drive. This could be your enemies, your NPCs, anything like that. Player controller and game mode base we'll cover in a different section. We're not going to worry about those too much right now. Actor component is actually really cool. An actor component is essentially like an addition to you as a person, right? So a good example of that would be like if I wanted to create an inventory system, I would use an actor component. So me as a person, if I'm getting ready to go to school or class or whatever it may be, and I need to take a backpack, the backpack would be my actor component because it's not actually who I am, but it's something that I can put on myself. So me as the blueprint player character could take the actor component, my backpack, and put it on and store all the functions that I need in there, whether it be, pulling something out of my backpack, checking to see what's in it, or removing or adding something to my backpack, if that makes sense. So now that we explained what they are, let's go ahead and dive into what they look like. So let's go ahead and click actor here, and we're going to call this BP underscore test object. BP stands for blueprint. This is just kind of common practice for naming these things. And when you're done, go ahead and double click to open it up. Now, if you're wondering where all of your info just went, don't panic. We're going to go ahead and click at the top here and drag it out, and we could add it to our tab here. Now, if that's a little bit annoying, it is for me. I don't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to edit really quick. And I'm going to go to editor preferences. It's going to open up this big scary window with all this information that seems really daunting. Don't worry about it. We're looking at it right here under general and appearance, right here on the left hand side, just in case you're wondering. And we just look down here, it says asset editor open location. Set a default. We're going to go ahead and do main window. Control S to save and exit. Now, whatever we open up in the future, it's going to open up in this main window as a new tab right here at the top instead of you trying to search in different windows and tabs and try to find it that way. It gets super annoying. Don't worry about it. Okay, let's go ahead and break down what the blueprint window looks like. To start off, we have the viewport. Anything that the blueprint is going to look like is going to show up here. So if it's a player character, you'll have your player character model. If it's a key, you'll see the key mesh here and everything fun like that. Next, we're going to go take a look on the left-hand side here called the Components tab. The components will hold things like, remember what I mentioned earlier about the actor component? Something like that could be added here. You can add point lights, audio, whatever it may be, something to, in addition to what this blueprint actor is, will go into the Components tab. There's a lot of different components, and a lot of them do a lot of different things. It'll just take some time to kind of understand what does what. Don't be overwhelmed with this. A lot of it we're just going to search for, and you'll get there with practice. All right. Next, we have these two tabs here called construction and event. Construction happens before the game launches. So, and it also could happen here in editor. So if you had something that was like, if I had a light that was green or red attached to a door, depending on its locked status, if I had the door as unlocked and it was green, but when I pressed play, the door changed to locked. That means it has to be red. If I change that option in the editor and instead of running the code just in the event graph, and I need to see which doors are locked or which ones aren't, I could set it up in the construction script as well and just kind of have it set up so I could see what's happening live in the editor instead. There are other use cases for this. This is just kind of like a basic layman's term example of what it could be used for. Obviously, you could dive way more into depth as to what it does, but that'll be safe for later. Event graph is going to be where we're going to be scripting most of our stuff. To move around the event graph, I can scroll in and out. I can hold the right mouse button down and go ahead and move around. I can left click on each individual node. I can hold left click to select multiple ones. I can click and drag these nodes to move them around. If you guessed it, you could probably do it. I know that's a lot, but now that we got the basics down of what we're looking at, let's go ahead and test some stuff out that we were doing. So to start, I'm going to go ahead and click this add button here, and I'm going to have this test object be, let's call it a cube. I'm going to go ahead and click cube, and you'll see here that it added this cube underneath the default scene root. And if you want to, you could zoom out here. It has its location, rotation, scale, looks familiar to the other details. Perfect. So this is adding a component to our static mesh. And if we wanted to, our actor, and if we wanted to save, we're going to go ahead and click compile, because compile is going to check if we have any errors in our code, and then we're going to go ahead and save. And when you click save, you'll notice that little asterisk went away next to the actor. Perfect. Compile results shows that we have no errors. We're good to go. Sure hope not, because all we did was add a cube. So next thing we want to do is go ahead and add it to our level. So let's go back to our level 1. Let's go ahead and press Control Space to bring up our content browser. And you can see here we have our BP test object. Let's go ahead and click and drag out our BP test object right here. Going to move it up. Awesome. Let's go ahead and click Save. Now, we haven't scripted anything with this, so if we click play, it is a cube. Congratulations. It's sitting there doing nothing because we told it to do nothing. So let's go ahead and have it do something. Move this a little bit closer, hit save again. Let's go back into our test object and let's head over to the event graph. And let's explain some of these a little bit. We're going to delete this one for now because we don't need it. And if you delete one of these on accident, don't worry about it. Like if you accidentally delete begin play, we can right click in this open space and I could type in begin play and look, there it is. No worries. Same thing with event tick. Oops, what happened? We could type in tick. Awesome. So let's learn the difference between the two. Event play is something that's going to happen right when we click start on the game. So if you have any information that you need to like initialize when the game starts or the level starts, this would be where you want to do it, right? An event tick is every single second or every single frame of your game, something is going to be happening with whatever you attached here. So let's go ahead and show you the difference. We're going to click and actually code our first thing. This is going to be exciting. So let's click and drag here out. And I'm going to type in print string. Print string is essentially going to print to the console whatever we put in here. Let's say hello. Let's actually do the classic computer science hello world. Let's hit compile and save. This is for development only. Again, this is for debugging, but if we click this button down, we could say print to screen, check. We could say print to log, also check. We could change the color, whatever color you would like, go for it. I'm going to do a red. And the duration. So if you want it to last 10 seconds, you can. 2 is fine. You could do 1, whatever it may be. That's fine. So let's go ahead and click compile and save. Let's go back to our level. And if you pay attention to the left-hand side of the screen here, when I click play, we have hello world. That means as soon as I clicked play, again, the node is called begin play. We had our print to console, right? So if I hit escape to back out and I go to my output log, I should have here, oh my goodness, I have to go all the way down, our hello world. Where did it go? Turns out it was here. I'm just blind. You guys probably saw it before me. We have our BP test object that says hello world. This is a pretty good tool to use for debugging. I'm a big fan of using this whenever I can, essentially to kind of test things and making sure that my actors are talking to each other and I have things set up correctly. So let's go ahead and hit stop. And let's go ahead and show you what happens if we do it on event tick. So let's bring this up a little bit. And what we could do, if you don't like this here, you could, I'm sure there's a way to get rid of it if you right click, but if you hover over it and press uh, delete, or if you hold down the Alt key is the best way to do it. But if you hold down Alt, you could break that line there and disconnect it. Additionally, what you could do is you could hold down Control for the section that you want to move and then move it as needed. You could do the same thing on either end. So if you needed to plug this into something else, you could do that too. And then finally, while we're here, we might as well learn about something called a reroute node. If you think that this is a little bit messy and this isn't working, you could go ahead and double click on the line and it adds this little additional reroute node. Again, we don't really have to do it here because this is super simple, but this graph can get very complicated very quickly. So we have our little reroute node to make sure things stay nice and even. Let's go ahead and delete that and reconnect. And let's say I just want to make sure that this is all on the even playing field. I could left click, drag, select, left click, drag, select, and press the Q key, and it'll go ahead and make everything one straight line. Keeping code clean is super important, especially if you're working with other people. But even if you're working by yourself, just keep it clean. It's super important because you're going to forget what you did, and that's okay. One more thing before we go, comments. Comments are super important. We could press the C key, and that's going to bring up a comment box. Now, if I accidentally misclick and I'm like, oh no, what happened to my comments? I could click on it, and over in the detail panel, I could check what this is. So I could say, what are we doing here? Every frame, we're printing hello world to the console. I can move this here, I could click and drag, and I could kind of encompass what we're doing. If you don't want the, and if you want to after that, you could click and drag and move this around. If you prefer to kind of just have it as a headline, you could just move that up like this. That is your preference. Sometimes these get a little weird, like if one piece is out, one piece is in, then only one piece moves. Again, up to you. But for now, we'll do this. And let's take a look at what we just did. Let's go ahead and click play. As you can see, every single frame, we have hello world being printed to the console. So event tick is something that's a little bit pricey and something that you don't want to really use all that often unless you really, really, really have to. And even then, there's probably some kind of workaround that you could work through it. So just keep in mind what we're doing. And let's go back into our test object here just to kind of understand what the flow will be. So I'll just delete this comment for now. A flow state is essentially going to read from left to right like you're reading a sentence or a book or something like that. So anything to the left of what's happening here as far as the node connection wise works is going to happen to the right. So even if this is placed over here, you could see that my string here, my node is starting from this left hand side, right? And moving into, so the right output is moving into the left input in this corner here. So it reads from left to right. So if I added another print string here, let's try that again. Oh my goodness. Print string, awesome. And we'll just say test. But for the sake of the argument, let's go ahead and hold control click and move this back to event play. And let's get rid of this one. Actually, let's just practice really quick. Select all, Q, compile, save, press play. You can see we have our left to right moving, right? So it'll always print this one first and then this one. And if I decided to switch this around, I could totally do that, no problem. And I could do test here and move that around, compile, save. And now we have test going first and then hello world.